What up, people? It's your man SubSir, and today, man, I have a candle in front of me, and I just wanna, summon good things, to your life and to my life and to everybody that watches these videos and that keeps liking my stuff. I appreciate it a lot, So I wanna light this candle, to make requests, to God and all that is great, to just bless us. We are asking for blessings. A lot has happened. We have lost great people like Abu Ricardo, and so we're just asking, for guidance, for light, for peace, And so I light this candle to ask specifically for discipline, to ask for wisdom and peace. We ask that, the relationships that we have built in the past and that we are soon to build become stronger. Thank you so much. Now, with that said, I will keep this candle lit and then continue with the video that I was supposed to do, which I'm doing. So yeah, I went to the film screening, and this time it was a film by Sifiso Khanyile, and Sifiso Khanyile he seemed like a very young guy, maybe past 35, but not really into his 40s exactly. But if he's into his 40s by now, then it means he's aging really gracefully. But he seemed young to me. He seemed like he's still within his 30s, and he seemed like a very intelligent guy. Because he came through actually to the screening. So the name of his film is The New Country, A New Country or The New Country, and as you can hear from the title, it obviously it's a very political film, or it speaks to the politics of a country, and you would be guessing what country is that. And obviously, I live in South Africa, so I wouldn't be making videos about America. What touched me about the film? I don't want to talk about the theatrics of the film, meaning the visuals, or the sound, because I'm not really deeply immersed in film like that I would understand, how a quality documentary would appear and everything. I was watching it, from a viewer's perspective, and basically more interested in the content, because I'm a person that likes to read and that pushes the idea of reading, and so I'm always looking into digging into content more than all the other stuff, the nice stuff like the theatrics. But I just want to shoot straight into what the content was about. So as you can hear from the title, The New Country, South Africa is a rainbow nation, quote unquote, and it has a very dark past. It has a very interesting people, a diversity in ethnicity. Like, we have different cultures, heritages. We have just a different breed of people all around South Africa, and so that makes it very unique, because we have 11 different languages, and and just all types of races. Indians, we have Chinese, we have so it actually became known as a rainbow nation. But what the documentary, I believe, and this is my take on it, what the documentary was trying to reveal to us is that it's just how easy it is to conceal things and to push narratives, and to use propaganda to push those narratives and keep people focused on other things. I mean, Sifiso started it. I was about to say it. Started this thing, with the sports events, the sporting events that happened in South Africa back then around '94, with the Springboks winning the World World Cup. I think there was also the Proteas there who won the World Cup, and then the football, soccer, by that you know let me just call it soccer, not football. Um, all these sporting events, and then he really played it nicely with art, meaning musical art, with a track by Glenn Lewis, because the theme song was actually sort of like Glenn Lewis's mid-tempo. And Glenn Lewis, if you listen to the song itself, it's like a merging of two worlds, because he used sort of like synthesized sounds, and very white-ish drum sets, sort of like that. It's like house music, but it had sort of a South African feel to it, and it was done by a black person, Glenn Lewis. And you kind of like get the picture of it, like this was a merging of two worlds of some sort, because like I said, electronic sounds like sounded techno-ish, and we know like techno was basically a sound that was enjoyed by a lot of white people, whereas Kwaito was a sound that was enjoyed by black people. And so, like, if you listen to the song, it sort of paints, sort of, or it, I guess, evokes certain emotions, basically shows your, lets you in on what was happening. With the rugby, events, people were crazy, they were euphoric, and they went into the streets, and black and white people were dancing in the streets, and the same thing happened, I think, with the Proteas, if I'm right. And then when it came to the event of the soccer, this is where now he kind of like gets into the body, because it starts on a beautiful high note, and then now it breaks away when South Africa wins the African Cup of Nations, and then everything changes, because the people who are dancing in the streets during the Rugby World Cup, victory, are dancing in the streets during the football, history, the victory. But then the police emerge, and chaos breaks. People end up in prison, and But this is just basically, I think, sort of him showing you, like, there was inequality, but it was not being addressed. He also shows visuals of de Klerk at the TRC, and his views on things. It was crazy seeing those visuals. Me having never seen them, because I didn't, it was like, wow, what is this guy talking about? I mean, de Klerk at the the de Klerk visuals, but I don't want to talk long on it. It actually just addresses, I think, the economic and wealth distribution, just inequalities that are taking place currently and back then, but that they were brewing at the time, but we were not really having those conversations. And the use of music like mid tempo, and I think I would say even Galagata, basically, it's a very great reference to, the merging of those two worlds. Because if you listen to Galagata, there was sort of, even TKZ, man, there was a lot of, English incorporation in the sound, yeah, you got TKZ, yeah, of TKZ. And but Galagata is a really really great reference, because they use sort of like rock sounds, so it was sort of, and it was loved by white people. I remember Galagata was loved by white people. So this unequal, Sipo was trying to, look like your Sipo, Sifiso was trying to really talk to those, things like, the unequal distribution of wealth, and just economics, and this basically leads us to talking about land, leads us to talking about education, just the basics like water and electricity, and shelter, the RDP, housing, you know with education, it actually even leads us further into the born frees who were promised this, great utopian like place where they would have, you know, uh, a vast amount of opportunities, after finishing their tertiary. And, it shows you professionals and very educated people just picking up plastics, and you know what I mean. It's a very, very, I don't want to say, let me just say it's a very, I don't know the word for it, but it's a very truthful documentary in that it shows you these realities that we are still dealing with. And I'm sure maybe some of you have seen maybe sort of these types of documentaries in the past, and you are thinking, but we know that. But this was just how it was played, and I think he was showing, because he's a creative person, he was just showing you just how sports and art can actually maybe like sort of create a false image of a place, because you during just moments of euphoria, within the art, space, and within this the arts and culture space and sports and everything, we can forget the real issues at hand. And so I really think he was touching on that, and me as an artist, it resonated with me, because I'm an artist who tries to speak truth to power, and just try to speak on issues that are really, really affecting us as a people. I don't want to go on and on and on. So you kind of like understand what the documentary is about. But it leaves us with a question as to what and where to from here. What do we do now? As a people that know this truth, that actually recognize that there's an unequal distribution of wealth and just economics in South Africa. That still that the minority still has a lot in their hands, and the majority has nothing. I mean, I just saw the recent stats that reveal that actually about 90% of the SMMEs in South Africa actually get funding from the banks, and actually even from the government and from other institutions, or pillars of this country. And by institutions, I mean just maybe say other bodies in jail that work with business and and everything like that. We have about a 72 to 75% unemployment rate amongst the youth, and we have about 40% unemployment rates, a 40% unemployment rate amongst African people or black people, and only about 8% of just white people who are unemployed. So that really, really brings us to the question, so how do we move forward? And as a person who has been reading for a while, and who have been trying to find answers to his problems, because I am disadvantaged, I live in a township, and I went to a township school, and and so on and on. So I feel like I'm looking for a way out of this sort of like life, and I want to obviously create a better life for my children. He leaves us with the question as to where to from now, and I couldn't get a clear answer, because I don't think anybody knows exactly what to do. But I feel like just for him to show us that, and because I mean, I've been talking about a video that I want to do, that is going to be titled "The Infrastructure of the Mind." Ngugai Dobi, Mr. I think it's Advocate Ngugai Dobi, Tembeka, who is one of the guys I would like to really, really engage and read. He really highlights that we need some sort of emotional I don't want to say healing. He didn't say healing. He said something, but sort of some emotional development, because I really feel like the only solution that we have is a nurturing of the mind and understanding exactly what we are dealing with. And we need to really grow and develop our minds and equip them with information that is going to help us, navigate our way around the world. With the evolution of industries, like, we are moving into the industrial revolution, we need to know exactly how we can, have access to opportunities within those spaces and everything like that. And so it speaks to the mindset. And hence, when I started this video, I lit up a candle, to ask for guidance, to ask for peace, to ask for strength, and to ask for discipline, because I believe that these are the pillars of, a better human being. I'm not saying this is going to be sort of a model for a perfect human being that is going to find solutions easily, but these I propose to be the pillars of a better human being in the making, and that speaks to the development of a people, because the artists who attended this event are worried about their livelihood in general, as to how do we see ourselves in the next 5 to 10 years. Do we see ourselves owning properties and living better lives, or do we see ourselves still stuck up in the ghetto and still struggling to make ends meet? Because I go to these engagements not to talk beautiful English and look like I know stuff, but I'm actually going there to see if there isn't a way out for me. And I speak about a way out, I'm speaking about a financially, I guess, driven way out. Like the way out has to be financially, or it has to have some financial elements into it, or economic liberation, elements to it. And so, with that said, I think my brother Sifiso was actually speaking to those things, and and if you were there, then what I'm talking about, because we had a very deep engagement after that really left me depressed a little bit, but I managed to recognize that when I go into conversations that leave me sort of like drained, and so I can easily recognize these things, because searching for solutions can be really draining. But I understand we all had good intentions, we all had all the best interests at heart, and whatever in the engagement we had was trying to actually, we were all trying to help ourselves, you know so I feel like the only way out is, for a nurturing of the mind, is to build some sort of institution of the mind. And so with that said, man, I will leave it there. Peace and love.